We got a good pod today.
We do.
Good to have you back,
talk
man.
some football. It's been a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
it feels like it's been
I
longer. So I hope you had a good break.
It was a great break.
Yeah.
Yep, just did nothing. Hung out. It was nice.
Best kind.
Yep. Got some sleep. Got some rest.
Got just
detoxing.
enough bored where you're excited to come back to
You're
work.
exactly right. You know what I realized? When you do nothing on your break,
Yeah.
you don't hit that the Sunday scaries. Like it's one thing if you go away on a nice vacation during your break, then you're like, can't believe that went so fast. My heart hurts that I got to leave here and go to work. I didn't have that. I was kind of like, all right, let's
Ready
go to work.
back.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
That's good.
Yeah.
Tag time.
Yeah,
right?
Let's do it.
Franchise tag time?
Yep.
Is that what's going on?
Yep, franchise tags. I think we might get a few questions from some fans we're going to hit on today.
We do?
But the tag window is open. It's an interesting year, I think, for the tag in general. I'm interested to see how this goes this year. You know, last year, Pete, just if you can, like how many tags did we have last year? I think we had a pretty high number. 15. I would think we could have a decent number this year, too.
But it's going to be down. You say it's interesting because the salary cap is about 10% down? That sound about right?
Right.
So you think double digits again for the franchise tag?
If you made me bet, I think we could be flirting with that. Certainly. Yeah, I do. Because
I'm going to set the over-under at 10.
We'll see where we get, because I didn't even count to where I am on my list here as we go through some of these names in different positions. But, you know, the one thing that jumps out to me, yes, I know the salary cap's going to be somewhere between 100 and 185 million. But because of that, too, and some of the names we're going to talk about, the franchise tag numbers are not gigantic this year. And also I think, some of the players we're going to talk about.
There we go.
There's some players where you go, this is a bargain for this price.
Completely.
And it makes sense. And then hopefully you can work out a long-term deal.
If you can get the best version of that player, because aren't players kind of pissed about it?
Well, of course. The franchise tag is the worst thing in the world for a football player.
I'm going to throw in a question from @Alan Zullinger. He says, can we get some general thoughts from you on the franchise tag and how players feel about it?
Yeah, the players hate the franchise tag. I mean, that's the general consensus. Again.
Because?
There's no long-term security. It's one more year of rolling the dice. Yeah, sure, I'm going to get a big paycheck. Yeah, great. But, okay, a quarterback, Dak Prescott, maybe he can get away with, getting hurt the way he did and still get franchised once again or get a long-term deal. But other positions, we'll see. We'll talk about Bud Dupree in a minute. He's in that kind of situation with the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's going to be interesting. But, yes, at the end of the day, everybody wants a little bit of long-term security.
Right.
And more than that, just one-year cash grab to go forward. So between the fifth-year option and if you're a first-rounder and the franchise tag, some of those guys can go 6 years of their career without seeing, really major money. I know it's good money, but I'm just talking about in the scope of the NFL.
Compared to what they could get if they got signed to a long-term deal.
Yes. Yeah. So, I don't think most players do not like the franchise tag.
Okay, so for our purposes of this show, Pete says this exercise here. Let's assume none of the players reach long-term deals before the tag deadline of March 9th. So we're kind of talking about all these players and positions, if they should get the tag or not. And I believe where we hit multiple players, you're going to rank them?
Yeah, I'm going to rank them.
One through whatever?
Not necessarily all about their talent and who's better.
Value to their team.
Value to their team. Does it make sense for their team and all of that? But, there's certainly some good ones, some interesting ones in here. And, there's some teams that certainly got to do some work this year as far as figuring out their salary cap because there's a lot of teams in some bad spots. Yeah,
starting with, I don't know if it's a bad spot, but the Buccaneers have some interesting ones. We'll get to that. The wide receiver position will kickstart that. Let's begin with the quarterback, and there's only one that we're talking about, Dak Prescott. Pete, you have in parentheses $24.8 million for the tag. Wouldn't he be a little bit more because he did it last year?
Yeah, he's going to be, I think, somewhere towards 37.
Up in the 30s, yeah.
I think so this year for that tag.
Let's say your last name was Jones and not Sims, and you're in that family. What are you doing here?
Well, there's no way I'm letting him hit the free agent market. I'm not. Now, long-term deal, I'm not going to just throw out something right off the bat here.
I'm going to play the other side.
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, two things. It's pretty serious injury, all right? I know what he is, okay, but what we don't really know is what Dak Prescott's commanding and asking for. Mm-hmm. And from everything we hear, he wants to be paid like Deshaun Watson.
Which is how much a year?
Basically, 40, 39 and change. And I'll always say this, Dak Prescott, when healthy, is a top 10 quarterback. He is not a top top 5 quarterback.
Right.
And I think Jerry Jones kind of made that clear last year a few times. You know, when they lost that Seattle Seahawks game early in the year, he kind of made some cryptic talk messages, and Pete will probably remember, where he talked about, I'd like one of those quarterbacks who can make things happen and run around. Dak's not one of those. So I think that shows you where they view him. Now, last year, I think it was all about the 4th and the 5th year conversation, and I know people tried to rebut me on social media, like, you know, Ian Rappaport, who probably talks to Dak Prescott's agent, tried to come out in social media and say, I was wrong. He didn't tell me where I was wrong or anything I was wrong. He just listened to the agent and said, hey, can you put a tweet out to tell Chris Sims he's wrong?
Right.
Okay, bullcrap. I don't think I was wrong. I think I'm pretty damn right. But anyways, that to me is the biggest thing. I just don't know what he's asking for or what he's expecting. I don't know if it's more about the years, the guaranteed money.
Probably a little bit of both.
He certainly should be paid like one of the 6, 7 best quarterbacks in the game. I have no problem with that. But if I'm Dallas right now and you're not getting to that, you're franchise tagging him. You're franchise tagging him. You're continuing to monitor where that ankle is. That is a pretty serious injury. Dislocation, you know. I wouldn't expect him to be totally 100% the explosive Dak Prescott you would have seen, you know, before the injury.
He does most of his work from the pocket, though.
He does do most of his pocket, but he will, you know, when you really break him down, you realize he moves a little bit more than you think. Like, it's not like showy, sexy movement, but it's a lot of, okay, I'm stepping up in the pocket, and okay, now I'm kind of in pressure, and I'm moving, I'm running, I'm throwing a 20-yard crossing route. And then, of course, they will run the ball with him on read options and things like that. And I believe that was a play he got hurt on, was a read option. Right.
Yeah.
So, franchise, no doubt about it. Buy yourself some time. If you get to a point where now it's May, June, and you start to go, hey, he looks good. Like, he's going to be really close to 100% when the season starts. I mean, I would hope that they could get a deal done.
I would think so.
What else is out there? Who's going to be better that you're going to get than him?
What are you going to get?
He's in the prime of his career. Your team right now is built around your offense.
Completely. And I think that they franchised him once. He had that horrible injury. You saw how much, and you kind of suspected, but now you really know how much his teammates care about him and want him around. So there's that tangible part of it. Doesn't the tie go into getting this done long term, because he is a top 10 quarterback?
Yes.
And because the way everybody reacted, they want him around. The locker room wants him there.
No doubt. He's. And
what if they offered him a contract long term, 5th highest quarterback in the league?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I would take that right now. I mean, for what he is, looking into the future, you know. And again, let me like, we pull up top salaries for quarterbacks in football right now. You know, let's just hit it real quick while we're here. We might as well. I mean, of course, here's Mahomes at a $45 million a year average, but it's a team-friendly $45 million. Let's not be crazy here. A lot of that is bullshit numbers that are way down the road that Mahomes is going to have to stay healthy to get, or who knows where.
So he's averaging 45 a year?
45 a year, but he's not getting as much money as Ryan Tannehill or Deshaun Watson in the first 4 years of his contract. He took a very friendly deal. So is Dak Prescott willing to do something like that? I don't know. But here we got Mahomes at 45, Watson at 39, Russell Wilson at 35. Now, where the market's messed up is Big Ben's at 34, and he's going to take a pay cut or do something to adjust that this year. But, I would think that the sweet spot would be somewhere in that 34 to 39 range going forward.
I would say 30 to 35.
Yeah. I think, with Aaron Rodgers at 33.5, and of course he's underpaid at this point, but where the market is for this point and everything like that, I would hope maybe Dak Prescott, being smart, being who he is, could maybe find out a contract or figure out a contract to where it's not a huge blow to the team maybe this year because the salary cap, and maybe not next year, but he's getting big-time guaranteed money. And then maybe after that, it can become, okay, now we're getting into the $40 million a year type of thing.
Right.
And they can build a team. You got to remember, they got issues on their team. They got no defense. They got a lot of work to do to fill some holes on that side of the ball. But it's a very tricky situation, and I really don't know how to feel about it in a lot of ways.
And because it is a tricky situation, and it is the Cowboys. It's a hot-button issue. A lot of theories out there, a lot of thoughts this time of year about what might happen.
Yeah.
The armchair GM throws this one out there. there. Do you think it would be good for the Cowboys to tag and trade Dak to a team like the Dolphins or the Jets to get a high pick and replace him? With the Cowboys having a bad defense, like you just mentioned, I think this could be a smart move for both teams.
Well, I don't think it's a crazy thought. I just is Jerry Jones willing to do that at this point of his life? Throw out a franchise quarterback who you know can be the guy for at least the next 5 or 6 years.
I would say maybe it's not crazy, but I would label it as reckless.
I would too.
And the wrong move because it's exciting to think about what kind of picks you might get. People get so fired up about that this time of year, but what are the chances you're going to get a quarterback who's, whether you rank him 8th best or 12th best, who's that good?
No,
the chances are much better that you won't get somebody that good.
That's the point. The chances are you won't get somebody that good. The chances are, hey, they like Johnny Manziel. They liked Paxton Lynch. Let's not forget about that. I mean, if Denver didn't get Paxton Lynch, they wanted him. So I'm not necessarily about to go all in on Dallas and their quarterback either. So that to me, yes, is risky, and I would not give that away for Dak Prescott.
I would say leave well enough alone right there and find a way to get that guy signed.
Yeah.
Pete, let's go ahead and roll that graphic there. NFC East Division winner odds provided by PointsBet at Sportsbook. Dallas right now. And again, we're in February. The odds-on favorite to win the NFC East. If they have Dak back, is that how you see it too?
No, I don't. You know, Philadelphia 2? What the does Philadelphia got at number 2 that makes you think that's going to work?
And way ahead of New York and Washington.
Well, what I don't understand is you give me something solid at quarterback for Washington, I'm riding with Washington.
Yeah.
That would be the team I'd go.
As the best?
As the best. I would. Their defense ain't going anywhere. It's only going to get better.
Yeah.
They got a pretty good offensive line. You know, they got Terry McLaurin. I think Antonio Gibson's damn good.
I think I would have put the Giants ahead of the Eagles, too.
I probably would have, too. I don't understand that at all. But, yes, I mean, Washington's the team I look at to go, if they can just figure out that position, and I know that's a big if, we'll see. You know, some of these dominoes got to fall here to figure out what the hell is going to happen at quarterback. But Washington's the one where I go, whoa, that's totally they're being underappreciated right there.
All right, Dak Prescott and the NFC East got us warmed up here a little bit. Let's move into the wide receiver position.
Cool.
You good
Let's
there?
Do that. Yeah, let's
Cost you $15.8 million if you want to franchise any of these guys. So you're going to rank them based on importance to their team. And these are bigger name wide receivers who are coming up on free agency, and maybe their teams tag them to prevent them from getting there. So we have Chris Godwin, Tampa Bay.
Right.
Allen Robinson, Chicago. Kenny Golladay, Detroit. And Will Fuller, Houston.
Okay.
Go ahead and rank away.
So right away, Will Fuller's not getting franchise tag. There's no way. I mean, I like Will Fuller, the talent. Come on. He can't stay on the field. Then he did PEDs last year. I mean, so I'm not cool with that. No way.
And he's not as versatile as the other guys.
Definitely not. He is a home run hitter, take the top off the defense type of guy. So he is last of that list right there. My number 1 will be Kenny Golladay.
Ooh.
Yes, I know you probably weren't expecting that, but listen to my reasons first, okay?
Yes.
Golladay is really good, well-rounded receiver. I mean, certainly, again, there's 20 top 10 receivers in football, like we've talked about.
Right.
But I think he is legitimately hovering around that top 10 for sure. He can do everything. He can beat you deep. Even if he doesn't beat you deep, he's the kind of guy you can kind of throw it up to and he can 50-50 ball it. And he can go over the middle and do kind of the physical routes too. I'm a big fan of Kenny Golladay on your team. Plus, you just traded for Jared Goff.
Yes.
Well, you want to make that, you want to sell that to your fan base a little bit. So there is no way I'm letting him out of town. Marvin Jones is a free agent. Kenny Golladay, for me, is, out of all these guys, the number 1 guy to tag just because of those reasons. I'm not saying he's necessarily better than all of these guys.
Right.
All right, but I think just the importance of the team and where they're at, they'd be crazy to let him hit the free agent market right now.
Yeah.
I mean, if they let him in the free agent market, they're going to have to really break the bank.
Absolutely. Yeah. So now, kind of backstory here, how I get ready for this. I was trying to anticipate what you're going to say.
Yeah.
So I had you ranking him at 3rd, and I really like him. And I had notes built up to kind of sell why you shouldn't have him ranked so low. But I had started with what you mentioned. I mean, they just went and got Jared Goff. Right. And even though they're in a total rebuild, new head coach, new GM, the whole thing, they need Jared Goff to have some success.
Yes.
And so what does he need? He needs some pretty good wide receivers.
Definitely.
So to me, that was why I had him. I had him at number 2 on this list,
Good.
but I like that you had him high.
Yeah.
And I think he also makes some pretty good, like the only good young playmakers they have in the passing game, Hawkinson, Swift, he makes them better as well.
Agreed. And if you're going to run the Anthony Lynn offense, which it's going to be run, it's going to be run-based, and boots and play actions is what I expect. Golladay fits that really well. Golladay is the guy, play action, 15 yards over the middle, in between linebackers, he'll take the hit, catch the ball.
Better than 15 yards per catch, by the way, the last couple of years.
That's what I mean.
Shouldn't be overlooked.
He is a home run hitter that way. He's that's where I'm a big Golladay fan, and I don't think you can afford to let him out at the door if you're Detroit.
And they also have Marvin Jones, free agent, Danny Amendola, free agent.
Exactly.
So they have to have something.
Yes.
So it's unfortunate we agree this strongly right away. I know.
He's in the prime of his career.
And he's their own pick, even though it's not the same GM. He's a good story there, and apparently a good team guy as well.
Definitely. All of those things match up. So that to me is the number one guy I would out of this list. And that doesn't necessarily mean I think he's better than number two.
Which is to his team.
Yes, to his team.
Situation,
Yes. Now, Allen Robinson is awesome. That's who I'm going to make number two. Right? And Allen Robinson, of course, is super talented, really very similar to Kenny Golladay. I mean, where I would say Kenny Golladay has more of a deep threat possibility than Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson's awesome. He's like Gumby adjusting to the football. He's 50-50 guy. Over the middle stuff we just talked about with Golladay, Allen Robinson's the same way.
He's all they got.
He's all they got, kind of. So this is where I make him number two. One, I don't think they're a team that's wide receiver dependent. Like as far as wide receiver play doesn't make their offense. I don't think their offense is good enough to really utilize the receivers the right way in a lot of ways.
That says a lot right there.
Well, yes, I know. But here's the other aspect of this. They got a good young receiver in Darryl Mooney, who I really like. They got a guy like Anthony Miller, who's a pretty damn good receiver too. I don't look at them as like totally depleted at that position. Now, and then you got Cole Kmet at tight end and all of that. Plus, I guess the other thing that I'm taking into account here is I don't know if Allen Robinson really wants to be there. That's the other thing. I mean, if you really pay attention to Allen...
How much does that have to do with it, though?
Well, I mean, I think he probably feels disrespect that he didn't get something earlier. And then also, if you look at his social media and things about him that he said there, he's kind of sent some cryptic messages out there about the team in general and maybe him not wanting to be there. So...
Maybe he's feeling the same thing that you just said, that their offense isn't really that wide receiver friendly.
I would think that's part of it. I would. So, and, the Chicago Bears, let me just hit on this too. As far as salary cap, things like that, it's not like the greatest position right now. They need to clear $1 million or $2 million basically in their cap space just to get under right now. All right. So they got issues there. To me, the thing I'm looking for with Allen Robinson and why I also make it number two, I don't think it's maybe imperative for him to be on the football team in general, as whereas I just go, if they don't have him, it can't work. I don't look at it because I don't think, they're that type of team like I was explaining to you. But I think the big thing is off of that too, I could see a tag and trade with Allen Robinson. I could see that. They have holes on their team.
Oh, plenty of them.
They got tackle issues, offensive line issues in general. They're stuck with some players on their defense. In some bad contracts like Robert Quinn, who did not live up to his expectations. So those are, I guess, the reasons I kind of made him the number two guy on the list, more or less.
Okay, so if that's part of the conversation, let's even say you're Ryan Pace and that's your number one priority. You're in meetings, you're like, man, we should tag and trade this very good player. If they get what? A second-round pick? Well, what counts as the right value for him if that's the route they're hoping to go?
Depending on who's drafting and where, I mean, Allen Robinson is a clear number one receiver in football. Are you
getting yourself to saying a first-round pick?
I mean, I don't know if it would be that crazy as I sit here and think about it. I didn't think about the trade aspect or value totally, but I think you could maybe get a late first-rounder, early second-rounder for a guy like Allen Robinson.
And you'd make that move?
I would really, really think about it. I would. I mean, I'd want to get a feel for how much the guy wants to be there, everything like that. But yes, I would not. I don't think I'd be afraid to make that move. I would not. Like I said, Anthony Miller, I like him. I like the Darnell Mooney a lot. I mean, I think he is a game breaker wide receiver. Again, they didn't have the quarterback or the offense really to take advantage of them. And that's where I guess I worry about the Allen Robinson thing too.
I know this is a revisiting, but I think it's a good point, and I want to get in some Twitter questions. So Jack Schneider, 13, basically asked what I just asked you. What can the Bears get in return if they tag and trade Allen Robinson? So late first, early second, you think is realistic?
I think it is realistic or if it is a second, then maybe you get some other picks along with it. I'm trying to think of just some wide receiver trades. Over the
tag and trade, I think, Pete, you can check this. I think the last time we saw it was Jarvis Landry.
I think you're right. I believe you're right. And what did they get for him? I want to say a number. I want to say maybe a 2. Was
two
it
at the highest?
Yeah. And Pete's looking right now. But I would say this too. I think Allen Robinson's. And I really like Jarvis Landry. I think Allen Robinson's probably a better player than Jarvis Landry. I do. I think he's more of a one-on-one matchup nightmare.
Yeah.
Jarvis Landry's a great, 1A or awesome number 2 to me. He's not necessarily like the number 1 marquee guy where you just go, if he's one-on-one, we're going to abuse you all day. He's not that kind of guy. Allen Robinson can kind of be that guy.
I think you're going to be surprised at all that they got for Jarvis Landry. They got a 4th and a 7th is all.
Oh, a 4th and a 7th. Well, he wanted huge money.
Yeah.
And there was this is right. And there was a disagreement. Him and Adam Gase did not like each other.
Right.
So there was issues there altogether. And I guess the price tag, of course, was a part of that altogether too.
Right. And I'm just reading another question about it's backing up, but Jordan Cole wants to know what the Lions could get in the tag and trade for Kenny Golladay.
Yeah, I mean, I would think it would be something similar to what we just said there. I can't imagine that they're going to give him away for anything less than a 2. Kenny Golladay did get hurt this past year, so that goes against him a little bit. But damn, he's kind of a game-breaking receiver.
Yeah.
And maybe I should have came a little bit more prepared for the trade scenarios and everything like that. But yeah, I think I look at that as kind of right there along the Allen Robinson thing.
I think it's okay where you are. I mean, that's the point of the season we are in right now in February. Like you bring up a topic and it's like it's your first knee-jerk reaction to it. And I think it'll also help as we get more and more into like how deep the wide receivers are in the draft. If it makes sense, like a late first, here's what they can get at that point, or an early second.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about like other trades at receiver with Brandon Cooks. I mean, Odell was different with that one with the Browns because there was, money involved. They traded players, so that got convoluted and everything too to go along with it. But yeah, I think that I think those guys are yes. 2, high second rounds, maybe late first round to get a player like that.
Say that one more time, Pete.
Oh, so then I'm too high.
DeAndre Hopkins, second round pick?
Well, but
is that what you said?
But yes. Yeah. So what I'm not taking into account, it's because they knew DeAndre was going to ask for a $22 million a year contract.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't think Golladay or Allen Robinson are going to command that.
No.
It's going to be somewhere in the 17 to 18 a year type of range.
To franchise
so maybe
them
I'm
is
too
just
high
under 16
with my first rounds. Maybe it is. Maybe it is seconds.
Late first? We'll see.
Yeah,
we shall see. So, I think this next one is the most interesting one on the list. Chris Godwin.
I know.
Because of what he means to Tom Brady, because of the Buccaneers start out as the number 1 team. So you have him as third on this list?
I do have him as third, and it doesn't mean, again, I love the player.
Should they tag him?
It depends on the Shaq Barrett thing. I mean, if you're going to give me the choice of one or the other, I'm tagging Shaq Barrett. I think he's more important to their football team. Godwin's great, but, one, they got good tight ends there. They do have Mike Evans.
I think Brate is a free agent as well, though?
Brate might be a free agent, but I expect Gronk to be back there.
And O.J.
They do have O.J. Howard coming back.
Yep.
They got Scotty Miller and Mike Evans. They got the kid Johnson that they drafted out of Minnesota, right? So he's going to work okay there. And I expect Antonio Brown to be back. That's where I'm – now they need to hear that answer first, maybe before they figure out what they're going to do from Godwin, because I think that would make them feel better about –
I think that's a pretty big drop-off for a full season to go from Godwin to Brown.
Yeah.
In the same spot.
Well, yes, but I think it can be filled, and it's not going to make a huge difference to their football team. Where I would sit here and go, if they lose Shaq Barrett, I would go, that's going to change their team. That will change their team. Godwin, I sit there and still go, that offensive line, If they can run the ball a little bit, those tight ends, Evans, Scotty Miller, and if they do get Antonio Brown, that's enough. Brady's going to be able to make that work, and they're going to be still damn good.
And Braid's back. He's under contract for another year.
He is. Okay, so, cool. I didn't think he was a free agent, but okay. So that's where I go. He's a little bit expendable, and I don't mean that as a disrespect to the player. I just mean to their situation in general.
Yeah. These are all hard situations to look at. All these teams want these players back.
Yeah.
Play the other side here a little bit with Godwin. I mean, he does play in the slot first and can also play outside.
I know, he can.
I don't know if those other two, and I like Scotty Miller and I like Johnson. I think that Godwin's presence next to the one of Mike Evans makes those other two a lot better.
Well, it does. It does. Yeah. Godwin, if they were a real, like, spread team and we're going to be in the shotgun and getting 3 and 4 wide receivers a whole lot, I think he'd have more value as compared to maybe the way they're playing now, which they're going to be tight ends, 2 receivers, protect them up like we talked, like we saw in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 2 and 3 man routes. You better stop the run because we'll overpower you. It's single safety. Brady's going to throw a strike, and their guy's going to get open enough to where he's just going to have enough room to fit it in there.
Right.
And that to me, it doesn't beg on like, we got to have Godwin back. I guess that's my thought there.
And I think it certainly makes, the argument makes more sense that Barrett means more to the overall team success than Godwin. But you brought up the name here that to me is kind of the wild card X factor. That's Brady. You know he's going to have a say. And you know he loves Chris Godwin.
I know that. I only loves Antonio Brown too, though. And I think Antonio Brown's there because of that. Now, I mean, yes, he's going to want Godwin back. We know that. But I just think in the big picture of things and where their team is at, and we'll hit on defensive ends and edge guys in a little bit. It's a little bit more expendable than Shaq Barrett and some of the other situations.
Right. Quickly thinking about and let's see if we get that. We're going to eventually get there. I was going to go defense with the Bucs.
Yeah, don't go there yet.
Don't go there yet.
Yep.
Final name on this list, Will Fuller.
Yeah, well, that's like I said. There's no way you tag him. There's no way.
Not a chance.
And, I can't even remember. Is his suspension going to go into this next year, or can he start right away? But either way, there's just too much of an injury history. Yeah. He's going to be a great bargain deal for somebody. Somebody's going to get him for a nice price, nothing crazy, and he could help their team if he can stay healthy. But that's a big if. That's been a big question mark for him the whole career. I'm thinking about the trade thing more now than anything because I was so focused on having to rank these guys and all of that too. Because I'm thinking about DeAndre Hopkins. I'm going, damn, that was only a second round they got. But also, teams knew they had to get rid of him.
They didn't get the proper value.
Well, they knew they had to get rid of him because of the Watson contract, and they just paid Laramie Tunsil to be they couldn't give 3 guys 60% of the salary cap.
It's a hard one to judge as precedent. Because of what you just mentioned.
That's where, I probably need to dive a little deeper into the Allen Robinson, Golladay trade value thing, and I'm sorry that I didn't do that.
I think, like I said, I think it's fair. We're in February, kind of sorting these things out. Will Fuller misses week 1, Pete? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So he misses week 1.
Yep, and you know me, I don't like cheaters.
There you go.
I don't. It pisses me off. I wouldn't want it on my team.
Yeah.
I'm not even lying. Like that's just
for the
not,
PEDs.
That does not fly with me.
Yeah.
I do not fly with that.
Yeah.
No.
Same way in college? Like, did you see any of it when you were?
I didn't see any of it in college. I always let it be known in locker rooms.
Yeah.
I was always like the loud guy in the locker room, like, cheater on steroids.
Yeah.
Like if we were talking about another team or anything like that, there was a few guys throughout my career where I certainly questioned.
Sure.
But I never knew for sure. I never knew for sure. But there's a handful of guys, and I'm not going to bring out their names, where I just went, hey, there's looking like a Greek god, and then there's looking like a Greek god. Like, what the hell is that?
How did that happen?
And that to me was the guys that, jumped out to me at times.
All right, offensive line. And we're going to rank them again based off of importance to their team. This is a big list.
This is.
Offensive
line
here. $13.6 million if you want to tag any of these guys. So I'm just going to run down the list.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right tackle from Carolina, Taylor Moton. Left guard, Joe Thuney, or center, David Andrews, both from the Patriots.
Yes.
Okay. Right guard, Brandon Sheriff, Washington football team. Jacksonville, left tackle, Cam Robinson. Right tackle for Buffalo, Darrell Williams. And center for the Packers, Corey Linsley.
All right, so let's just cancel out a few right here, right? Just so we can get, they're not going to be a part of the ranking. Like David Andrews, no way. Good player, not franchise, $13.6 million a year. Cam Robinson, no way.
Crossed.
Absolutely not. Darrell Williams, who had a really good year for Buffalo. I like him a lot. He's got value to their team. He's not franchise tag to me either. It hasn't been enough good years in his career to justify me just going, 1 year, here we go, we're going to franchise him. I don't think so.
And then you have a real consideration on defense that we'll get to as well with that team.
Exactly. Yeah. And they need to improve their defense. Yeah. And you do have a quarterback who can move and make people miss too, which makes I guess me feel a little bit better there. They got a guy in Deion Dawkins at left tackle who's special. They got to re-sign John Feliciano at guard, who's pretty damn good too. So that's why I say no to the Darrell Williams. Good player. I don't want to disrespect him anyway, but I don't think he's franchise tag eligible. Now, you get to these other 4 guys, making me rank them. Holy balls, Batman. I mean, Moton, Thuney, Scherf, and Lindsley are really damn good players.
Yep.
Lindsley is the best center in football. All right? Scherf is certainly one of the 3 or 4 best guards in football. Joe Thuney is one of the best run-blocking guards in football.
And has been there every game since he's been there. Dependable.
And their team is a run-first team right now. So there's his value. And then Taylor Moton is he's one of my favorites. He is a road grader. He does everything good. I've loved Taylor Moton since he came out of the draft. I really have. He was always a guy that I talked highly of.
You've built a case to make any of these guys number 1.
Well, I know. That's what I mean. So I'm going to go Scherf 1. Okay? Scherf 1 because, again, we don't know who their quarterback's going to be, but he's too good of a player, and I think they're going to play a game of, run the ball, play through our defense. I don't think they're going to open it up no matter who they get at quarterback and be like, let's throw it 45 times a game. No. That's not what Ron Rivera's coaching. There's no way. So I'm going to make Scherf the number 1 guy because there's just no way you let a guy that talented at that position out the door. There's no way.
Okay.
So he's number 1. Now, I'm going to go Taylor Moton, number 2. I am. And my reason for this is they are not very good on the offensive line. They traded for Russell Okung last year. I mean, Russell Okung is still a good player. Not going to say he's great. He's also getting up there in age. And I mean, I want to say he missed a handful of games last year. At least 5 or 6 games. I thought around that range.
Okay.
So Taylor Moton's the only marquee guy they got on their offensive line. And they're looking for a big-time quarterback. Christian McCaffrey's still on their team, and that's part of it. I just don't think you can let him out the door. I think he is a franchise right tackle for a long, long time. And if you can't get a deal done here soon, you definitely franchise tag him.
You tag him with the hope that you're going to sign him up long
Definitely. I think you would try to sign him up long time to something big. He's just getting to the prime of his career.
Right.
So, yes, I would think he'd be a guy you'd start looking at and seeing, he's going to command, I don't know, 17, 18, 19 million. I don't know, somewhere in that $17 million a year.
Right.
So the franchise that for 13.6 right now, I mean, that's a bargain. Definitely.
You do it all day long.
All day long. So that's going to be my second guy. Thuney will be my third. I'm going to make Joe Thuney my third. And this was not easy between him and Corey Lindsley. It was not.
Yeah.
I'm really more – Lindsley's better than Joe Thuney. He's a better player.
And more important to maybe the best player in the league, too.
This is where it gets tricky for me. And, again, I'm not saying I'm right, and certainly anybody out there watching me or wants to talk on, ask me questions. I'm not saying I'm right about my thought here either. This is a tough one. But I just look at the New England Patriots right now and go, you're offensively challenged. Your only offense is the run game. And guys like Joe Thuney and his ability to get to the second level and pull, and nobody really asks more of their offensive line on a scheme basis than the New England Patriots. They do everything on the offensive line. So it's not like it's just like, inside zone, outside zone. It's traps, it's pulling, it's get out here on the screen. He is very important to their overall being of their football team right now, and especially with no wide receivers, and we don't know who the hell the quarterback's going to be.
Right.
To me, that's why I make him number 3. And then Lindsley, awesome. But they got a lot of resources. I mean, their offensive line's pretty good. Mm-hmm. They're paying a left tackle as the highest paid left tackle in football now already, right? I think he passed up Laramie Tunsil. And even though it's not easy, I mean, you got a quarterback who just, he knows how to get the ball out of his hands and make people miss. So I guess that's where I just gave that's where I gave the tie to Joe Thuney. Just to go like, yeah, I know it's really important to Rodgers and their offense. I'm certainly not trying to disrespect that. Mm-hmm. But if there's one team and guy at quarterback that I think can maybe, skate around it a little bit, that's why I make him 4.
Yeah.
But I don't feel great about that.
If I make an assumption that because Aaron's doing so many things at the line of scrimmage, it's probably, every offense is complex, but that moment when he gets up to the huddle or gets out of the huddle and is at the line of scrimmage, a lot can probably change for the center there.
Definitely.
Corey Linsley.
Definitely. It's a very special relationship.
Right.
And I argued today with Mike Florio, it's probably the second, tackles, you want that. But center has quietly become
oh my gosh,
just huge because of the things you talked about. All the things that are on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Defenses, disguising, moving around, doing all that.
Yeah.
And then the beasts we have a defensive tackle around the league.
Right.
You have to be so versatile and good.
Yes.
Okay, I got to snap the ball, and now I got to block Akeem Hicks. He's a giant powerhouse. I got to snap the ball, and now I got to block Aaron Donald, who's quick as hell.
And in the 3 seconds before that, you've got to take what Aaron just said and give out the instructions to the offensive line, too.
It's a special, special thing. I mean, he's a damn good player. Yeah. I guess the other thing that I play into it a little bit is Green Bay's been pretty good at drafting and finding offensive linemen. So I try to take that into account, too. I mean, they had J.C. Treader before him, and now they get him. So it's just like they're one of those teams that seems to have a good eye for offensive linemen, and that's kind of where I guess I made him number 4, too. But I don't feel comfortable about that.
Right.
Yeah.
I used to work with a guy at NFL Network, a former offensive lineman, who totally disregarded the guards. He's like, you can put a bag of bolts at guard. It doesn't matter. Don't spend money on them. Don't draft them. I feel like around when Quentin Nelson got drafted top 10 and was such a terrific player and so important to that team that maybe guards are becoming a little more respected. And the fact that you have 2 of them rated ahead of Linsley kind of just reminded me of that.
It's still extremely important. It depends on your offense and how you really kind of work that way. But, again, I think it's that interior part of the offensive line and some of the versatile defenses you see right now, it's very important. Yeah. Again, they're all important.
And Pete was telling me something about financially, Pete, and I was listening to Chris while you were talking. Yep. Okay, Tooney and Scherf, because they were tagged last year, would cost over $17 million per year.
Ooh, man, New England's going to be. That's going to be tough for New England. We'll see. They're not going to be happy about paying any guard $17 million a year. That's for sure.
Joe would like it.
Holy crap, he would.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see where that goes.
Okay.
Yeah, and Scherf, Washington, they're in a really good spot. They can afford to give him a big-time long contract. And I would think they could make him the highest paid guard in football. I really would think that.
Maybe they go that way and save the tag conversation or consideration for somebody else.
Either way, you get them tagged. You don't let them hit free agents.
Tight ends, what we don't have in quantity here, I think we have in quality.
We do.
2 good ones here. Hunter Henry with the Chargers and Jonnu Smith with the Titans.
I'm going to go with Jonnu Smith as number 1.
All right.
First off, I think he's more talented than Hunter Henry. Okay. I do. I'm gonna take him. Neither one of them is like the greatest blockers in the world. I think Jonnu Smith is a little more dynamic in the pass game. Got a little less of an injury history, even though he's been banged up a little bit here and there. And I guess what I just look at, Tennessee is so based on their run game, and they're having a tight end in the game. Corey Davis is a free agent. To me, and then at $8.5 million,
come on, that's kind of a bargain.
It's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. There's no way. So I think that's a for sure. I can't imagine them letting him go with the way they play on the offensive side of the ball.
And they have such a nice formula that's played out since Tannehill's been there.
Yeah.
The wide receivers are like Brown and Davis, 1 and 1A, and they got the same thing at tight end with Ferkser and Smith here. They kind of go together very well.
Yes.
Neither one has awesome numbers, but you put their 2 numbers together, you're like, wow, I'm getting that out of my top 2 tight ends.
And
got to find a way to keep that.
Yes, and Smith can be explosive. I mean, Smith is the kind of guy who can catch a ball in the flat and turn it up and go 50 and 60 yards with it.
8 touchdowns.
So he's a playmaker.
Yeah.
He really is. And you're going play action pass football.
Right.
That's the way you're playing. To me, that's important. Now they're right now sitting there right around the salary cap line. they're gonna have to make some moves. I look at their roster a little bit and go, I wonder if Malcolm Butler might be a salary cap casualty.
Somebody will be,
right?
Yeah.
Roger Saffold, he's a guard who is getting paid a big amount of money, but the dead money's not that much. Where are they going to trim the fat? I don't know. But either way, I would think Jonnu Smith's my number one out of those two.
I thought maybe you would go with Henry just because of how much he means to Justin Herbert. And he wasn't his top target, but he was a really nice one all season long. Yeah. So I'm sure you gave consideration to that.
I definitely did. And the other aspect I think of this with too is, all the things you just said, their new offensive coordinator, Joe Lombardi, too, coming from New Orleans Saints.
Right.
They know how to use the tight end in the pass game. Now, Hunter Henry is kind of underwhelming till this year. It's a 1-year thing. Mm-hmm. But the Chargers, as a whole are in a really good spot salary cap wise.
Right.
And they got weapons at receiver. They got issues on the offensive line they need to fix. Right. That's why I made him 2. So, again, I like the player a lot. But I wouldn't think, again, that money right there, 8.5 for that player for this year, I think that's not bad at all.
And if you're in management there in Los Angeles evaluating it, how much do his first 3 years really matter? Because what matters most now is what he's doing with Herbert.
Sure.
Maybe those previous 3, I don't want to say you throw them away, but what he just did with your quarterback now going into his second year has to matter the most.
They drafted him. He's homegrown talent. They see his talent, but his inability, I do think, hurts, or his inability to be available. Might hurt his.
And Henry was tagged last year. He was tagged last year.
So he's going to be up there too. That's right. So that's but if he's at 8.5, that means that this year he's going to be around 12.7.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, either way,
it's pretty good.
It's not horrible.
A guard's going to cost you almost, above $17 million, and you can get a tight end.
Well, you'd hope to just get that done, and then again sign something long-term to where you give him some more guaranteed money and you lessen that number. Now, again, I don't think he should be anywhere near like the Kelceys or the Kittles of the world at $15 or $14 million a year. Absolutely not. But Austin Hooperville at 10.5?
Sure.
He's not the blocker Austin Hooper is, but he's a better receiver than Austin Hooper is, and I would think that's a number you could live with, and I would think that they could get a deal done either way.
At running back, the same situation we had at quarterback here, Chris. At quarterback, we only talked about Dak Prescott. Running back, there's no ranking to be done because we only have Aaron Jones listed. Would cost you a little over $8 million to franchise him. Would you do it?
I would seriously think about it. Again, I think the Corey Linsley thing plays into this a little bit. They're not necessarily in the best cap space themselves. Green Bay, they're going to have to figure out some things on their roster and trim some fat too.
Right.
You look at a guy like, Preston Smith, I don't know, Adrian Amos, some of those guys, could they trim some fat there and gain some money? They don't have an explosive game breaker on their offense other than Aaron Jones, for my money. Davante Adams is awesome. I don't think he's an explosive game breaker. This is where, again, I'll say this until I'm blue in the face. I don't think Davante Adams is a top 5 receiver. You'll never hear me say that. He's awesome. We saw in the playoffs, though. Where was he? I don't know. He wasn't there. Teams weren't doubling Davante Adams. It wasn't like doing that. He's really good. He's awesome. He fits there. But that's where I like Aaron Jones a lot. And they are again, a Shanahan, LaFleur, run team, stuff like that. For that number, 8.5?
Bargain.
Yes.
Let's back up and look at it this way. Aaron Rodgers, obviously the most important part of that offense.
Yeah.
Number 2, Davante Adams. You think he's the second most?
Yes.
Okay. Does Jones belong at third?
Maybe you go Bakhtiari second. And
okay.
Davante Adams.
Let me change the categories.
Davante Adams is number 2 after.
So Adams 2. In terms of playmakers, guys are going to touch the ball.
Right.
Is Jones third?
Yes, he is.
So then with that offense and how it's driving it there, it's hard to imagine that offense proceeding without him.
I'm with you. I would think that too.
So maybe a long-term deal.
Yeah, hopefully. But then see, what scares me with the long-term deal is now what's he going to ask for?
I think Dalvin Cook is above 12 a year.
Right. It's somewhere in there.
12 to 15?
Yeah. I mean, Derrick Henry's at 12, which was like a steal for them.
Yeah.
There's the cautionary tale of the running back, and I hit this with Florio a little today. Like, okay, you got the scary ones in like Ezekiel Elliott, McCaffrey got hurt, this year. You're paying him like, $16 million. I'm missing somebody else too who didn't pan out at the position. David Johnson, right? So there's a lot of like, oh, do we want to do that? But there is also, hey, Dalvin Cook doing pretty damn good for their team. Derrick Henry, of course, what we just talked about. Alvin Kamara, he's really important to what they do too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to pay him that kind of money.
Would you pay him, and again, if we're setting kind of Dalvin Cook as the baseline here, would you do it for 10% less than his contract?
Well, let's see. So, you're saying something around like the $10 million a year range?
I think he's above 12. So that would put Aaron 10-ish.
Yeah, 10-ish.
For a long-term deal.
I would be hesitant. As much as I like Aaron Jones, the game is still being driven through Aaron Rodgers on that offensive side of the ball. And, hey, they do got a running back they drafted in the second round last year.
Williams?
Yeah, the Dillon, the kid
Corey
from
Dillon. Yeah,
not Corey, AJ.
Yeah.
Corey's the old Bengals one.
Go.
Yeah, but one of those Dillons. But yes, they got him, and then, I'm a believer of unless that running back's like ultra special.
Dillon's a lot different though than Jones.
I know. I would have a hard time throwing out big money. If I'm Green Bay, I would try to ride the franchise thing for a year and see where it goes.
Yeah.
He's not a real big guy either. I'd be worried a little bit about him starting to wear down, get beat up, maybe slow down that way. We'll see where that goes. But I think at 8.5, you do it.
Defense, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's start with edge.
Yeah.
Edge linebacker / defensive end. The linebacker is going to cost you $14.6 million. Defensive end, 14.5. Again, we're going to rank them on importance to their team.
Yeah.
Shaq Barrett, Tampa Bay.
Yep.
Judon and Ngakoue in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Leonard Williams for the Giants. Carl Lawson, Bengals. Bud Dupree, you mentioned him earlier, for the Steelers. Hassan Reddick, Arizona.
Right. So let's just off the bat,
You're going to eliminate?
Let's eliminate. Lawson. I really like Carl Lawson in Cincinnati. Anybody that's been listening to my podcast since back in the Bleach Report days, that was like one of my hidden gems in the draft. Watch out for this guy. But no, you're not franchise tagging him. No, he's got an injury history. There just hasn't been enough production there for me to justify that. All right, now, Hassan Reddick. Absolutely not. For me, absolutely not. I like him again, but it's a 3-game span. It's his whole career is 3 games this year where he had a bunch of sacks that put him into this sack category. So there's no way I'm franchise tagging him either and being stuck with that on my list. And they need some guys on their front. I just don't think you do that. So right off the bat, I say no to that. Let's go to the Bud Dupree conversation.
Okay.
Bud Dupree is a franchise tag talent. He is that. He tore his ACL in a week 12, a week 11, somewhere in that range?
Late, yeah.
That injury might end up helping Pittsburgh, is my thought on this, really. Because, one, they have salary cap issues. So I'm saying I don't think they're going to franchise tag him. I don't think I would franchise tag him. You got TJ Watt, who at some point you're going to have to pay big money to here, too. And that's got to be on the horizon. But the other reason I guess I would say is, this might be one of those scenarios that works out for Pittsburgh where the market doesn't explode after Bud Dupree because a lot of teams might sit there and go, I'm not sure he's going to be able to play for us the first few games of the year. He might not be able to really help us. Are we going to really throw out $16, $17 million a year to that? So I really think there might be a chance to where they can not franchise tag him, let him sit there, kind of play the market, and maybe they can swoop in and go, hey, we like you here, you know that, and you like being here too.
Playing some poker.
And just maybe be able to get him for some sort of a short-term value type deal, and then see where it goes, a year or two from now. So that's where I would say no to the franchise tag there.
Good explanation, though.
Okay?
Yep.
All right, so now you get to the other 3 guys, and
3 teams, 4 guys.
3 teams, 4 guys. All right, so Matt Judon, no. Let me cross him out too. No way am I franchise. There's just not enough there. I like the player, physical, just not enough of a difference maker to me.
Yeah.
You know, there's too many moments during the year where I look at it and just go, I don't know. I mean, I know he set the edge and did things like that, but he just didn't pop off the screen or where I went, oh, I mean, if the Ravens don't have him, they can't survive. Yeah. I don't feel that way.
UT Madden asked basically this topic right here. Would you rather tag Judon or Ngakoue?
Yeah.
Judon has been more consistent, but Ngakoue popped more for the little time he's been there.
Exactly right. And I think that's the thing. Added to they traded to get him, and they're slow up front. They got plenty of size. They don't have speed. They went and got Yannick Ngakoue because they were like, these mobile quarterbacks, we can never catch them.
Yeah.
And we always have to blitz them, and then they burn us against the blitz. So that's where I think Yannick Ngakoue, I would make him my number 3 on this, okay? That's Yannick Ngakoue. We'll go 3-2-1 on this one now since we're here stuck with this. Yannick Ngakoue would be number 3, though, because, yes, I don't think, they have that type of guy. Yeah. And if you're in the AFC, size, physicality, hey, the Ravens got plenty of that to go around. They need some pop, speed off the edge, can run down the Mahomes, the Baker Mayfields, the Joe Burrows, and do that type of stuff. To me, that's where it makes sense. You got good corners, too.
Yes.
Like, why do we don't always have to blitz and leave them on an island? Let's rush forward and drop 7 every now and then. We just saw a team in the Super Bowl
worked pretty
do that.
well for the Bucs,
right,
yeah.
Exactly. So that's where I go Yannick Ngakoue gets the advantage to me.
I like it. I'm going to anticipate where you're going with your second ranking here by reading @Frogru67 says, hello, son of the great Phil Simms. Should the G-Men tag the big cat Leonard Williams or Dalvin Tomlinson? I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, okay. Well, I like that. First time, long time, huh? That sounds like right there. Yes, they should. They should. I like Dalvin Tomlinson. He's a big physical double-team force in the middle. But they're another team. I mean, I talked about them all year. It's the biggest defensive line in football.
Right.
They don't need more. They don't have any disruption guys. Leonard Williams is that guy. Plus, they traded for him, too. And Leonard Williams in that Patrick Graham, New England-y type of defense, he's their kind of guy. First off, they're in pretty good shape as far as, like, not horrible. They got $8 million of cap space, and I'm sure they can improve that. But I would think he is franchise tag material all the way. He's their best pure pass rusher. He's their most disruptive in the run game. And then for that defense and the way they play, he is New England-y. Oh, this week we're playing a team that's a little more pass-oriented. Okay, we're going to put you at defensive tackle and let you be a mismatch for the inside. Oh, this week we're playing a really big physical run team. Now you're back at defensive end because we got another D tackle we'll put in there that's bigger than you. He's a chameleon. That's what I mean. So that's where I would go him, and that's why I make him number 2.
Bringing us to the Buccaneers, Shaq Barrett. I'm going to make you Jason Light here for the next couple of minutes here. You want to keep him? He's going to be 29 this year. What's your plan in terms of the tag and the possibility of long-term?
Well, of course, he is long-term. I mean, you want to keep him. He's a special football player.
And you said earlier that this would be your priority as opposed to Chris Godwin.
This would be my priority. This would be my priority. Because JPP's getting up there in years. He's a good player. He's not making huge money. I think he's around like $12 million. And Ndamukong Suh, we'll see where he's at. I doubt he's even going to be re-signed for the same amount of money he got last year. So they'll be able to get him if they get him back for less. Vita Vea, who's a really good player, hasn't been able to play much.
Right.
I don't think they have to worry about a contract with him yet, at least for another 2 years or so. And Shaq Barrett is Shaq Barrett's a type of talent. One, he plays well against the run. 2, as you see, players win games. He was a big reason of why they beat Green Bay. He's a big reason why they beat Patrick Mahomes. He made plays and did things in one-on-one scenarios where he just said, F you, I'm going to beat you. And, there's just not that many guys in the sport. He is capable of being a double-digit sack guy year after year after year.
And he will not be happy with the tag again.
I wouldn't think so. So, you just got to tag him just to get the deal done and figure that out. But there's no way you let him hit free agency because someone's going to steal him if you get to that point. And they're sitting pretty.
The Bucs?
$29 million in cap space right now.
You think they could find a way to keep Barrett and Levante David? Because David, as he pairs with White, I mean, that really makes them special.
I know it does. but Devin White, I would think in another year here might be asking for a contract. Yeah, I mean, Devin White, I mean, if he has another year like he just did, right? This was his second year. If he has a third year the way he just did.
The highest paid.
Exactly. He's going to be able to, he's the best linebacker in football. I mean, he is. So that's where it's hard there. How much money and resources are you going to spend there? Can you get Levante David to maybe take a little bit of a hometown discount? I don't know. He's made pretty good money through his career. It'll be tough. I don't think they can keep all three, that's for sure, with Shaq, Barrett, Godwin, and him. I mean, I think one falls by the wayside.
How would you rate him? So you got Barrett 1.
Yeah, Barrett 1. I mean, I would say Godwin is 2 at this point of his career to where David is, who's getting up there in years.
Did a great job covering Kelsey in the Super Bowl.
I know. He's phenomenal. I don't like to say, like, get rid of him or anything like that. I don't like that. I don't want to say that. But, again, I think the reason I would Godwin's a better player at this point of his career than David. But, like we talked about, Godwin, there's a little more flexibility at the position to go, okay, we can let him go, to where, middle linebackers are when they're awesome, they make your defense, and those two make their defense.
Anything else on the Bucs or Barrett before we move on to the safeties?
I think we hit it all there. There's guys like Trey Hendrickson who people like I hear like, but there's no way you don't franchise tag Trey Hendrickson. There's no way, not off of 1 year. And I don't think he's that special he's a good pass rusher, a good player, but not a franchise tag talent to me either way. And they got a lot of money tied up in that D-line there already, and they have major salary cap issues, so there's no way that's happening.
Safety.
Yeah.
Going to rank them on importance to their team like we did with the rest of them. Justin Simmons in Denver, Marcus Williams or Trey Hendrickson, you just mentioned. Keanu Neal, Atlanta, Marcus May with the Jets, John Johnson with the Rams, and Anthony Harris, Vikings.
Yeah, okay, so let's go to the cancel it out thing again. One, Marcus May, I don't think is in that category. No, I mean, Marcus May, this was really his first standout year. So I don't think you're going to spend huge money on that. Keanu Neal, man, do I love Keanu Neal when he's healthy. But it's just been too many times where he's not. And he's a car crash safety, and that would just scare me to death. And they got a lot of issues to deal with too. They're $12 million into the salary cap right here. So no way am I throwing out like franchise tag money to Keanu Neal right now. Anthony Harris is a good one. Like, we talked about it in the show today originally. At first I was like, I think they might, Zimmer, they might franchise tag him. His defense, his secondaries, his little baby. But damn, they got so many holes. The more I thought about it, and Mike made a lot of good points, he kind of swayed me this way to where I just went, no, you're not going to, Harrison Smith still making a pretty little penny. They got Anthony Barr and Kendricks at middle linebacker who are making huge money. Of course, Daniil Hunter. And then they need a lot on the rest of their defensive line needs help, and they got some young corners I like and all of that, but I would say Anthony Harris is no, not for a second straight year. So I'm going to say no there too. Now the other three, I like these other three players, but I'm going to make Marcus Williams for the Saints number 3, just because of I like him. He's worthy. He's very close to worthy to franchise tag talent to me. But they have, like we just talked about, issues there. You got a Marshawn Lattimore. They got, Jackrabbit, from the New York Giants. I'm blanking on
Janoris Jenkins.
Yeah, Janoris Jenkins. Thank you. Blanking out on his name. They got Malcolm Jenkins. They got too many issues to where I'm going to make him number 3 on this list because maybe they think about it, but I don't think it's really realistic to think that's going to happen. No way.
Can you imagine being a GM? All these issues.
I know. It's
crazy.
I know. Well, sometimes I sit here and go, I wish I didn't have to worry about the whole league and I could just worry about one team. So
there is that too.
So, but either way.
So you have Williams at 3.
Williams at 3. Now the other 2 are fucking baller supreme. I mean, baller supreme. And to me, the modern day NFL safety. I'm going to make John Johnson number 2. I mean, Justin Simmons is, we'll get there, is arguably the best safety in football. I mean, he's special, but they're both special. And they're both special in this aspect. They're phenomenal in coverage. I mean, phenomenal. And they're ball hawks as far as tracking people down, but they got great range in the back end. You can depend on them to cover man-to-man and do those type of things. And the other thing is, they're not Ronnie Lott, like headhunter, thumper type of guys, right? They're not that.
It's not like a big-time requirement now.
But it doesn't matter. Exactly right. All I want, you're a safety.
Yeah.
Save me from not letting up an 80-yard touchdown. Make the tackle. I don't really care how hard you hit them. Mm-hmm. And that's, to me, where they're awesome. Yeah. They don't miss tackles in the open field. So Justin Simmons and John Johnson, to me, are no-brainers. Now, the Rams have major issues. Salary cap.
What's the biggest one?
Gosh, well, I mean, they're just so far. They're $26 million below. Jeez. Yeah. So I don't know what they're going to do there. I don't know if they can realistically think about paying another guy this type of money when you got Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey as the two highest paid guys in their position already. Right. That's where it gets tricky.
Can they afford to tag him?
I'm not sure they can either. I'm not sure. Really, at this point right now, I would probably say no. I would. And, I mean, they're going to have to do some major.
$10.5 million to tag him.
I know. And it's not a crazy number for that guy. He's worth more than that on a year-to-year basis.
Yeah.
Like John Johnson to me he's every bit as good as Honey Badger in Kansas City and some of the other guys that are making $14 million a year.
Maybe
Kevin Byard. Yeah. I mean, Kevin Byard in Tennessee. I'm taking John Johnson.
Yeah.
So that's where it's tough, but they're in a bind. I mean, they're in a bind. When you look at this right here, Aaron Donald this year is $27.8 million. Jalen Ramsey at $22.5, and now they got Matthew Stafford at $20 million. Those guys right there make up 37% of their cap.
Wow.
Yeah, just three guys right there. So now you're going to put another guy that's in that range of what? $12, $13 million. I don't know. I don't know if it's realistic to ask them to tag him. I think they're going to have a hard time keeping him, honestly. I do.
Bringing us to Justin Simmons from Denver. He's your number one guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to read two questions here. Yeah. I got a lot of questions last night of people anticipating this part of the show, so I'm going to read them both. Mm-hmm. They kind of get at the same thing. At Grant Johnson 5, should the Broncos tag Justin Simmons again? I know he wants to be the highest paid safety in the league, but as a fan, when I watch him, I don't feel like he pops on TV like the best safety in the league should. And Plug and Play 16 says, would you like to see the Broncos tag Simmons or come to terms on a long-term deal? He means so much to the Broncos and Broncos country.
I think, I want to see him. I don't think you can let him out the door. I don't think he is. First off, in Vic Fangio's defense, that's a very important position. You go back to his days with the 49ers and Deshaun Goldson. You go to the Bears with Eddie Jackson. He asks a lot of those guys. He does. And, again, when we talk about the best safeties in football, see, this is where I understand, like, he's not like the sexiest thing because you don't always see, like, highlight plays where you just go, oh my gosh, he's just like a blur on the screen and it's pick six, and when he hits you, he knocks your head off and do all those things. But for my money, You
think he's the best one in the league?
He's right up there with it. Yeah, I do.
You talked about ball hawking, range, reliable tackler.
Yes, he is arguably the best safety in football.
Who's up there with him?
Budda Baker. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll throw him in there. Let me see if there's a
Byard.
Oh, Jamal Adams, of course, is the best safety in football for my money. I think Eddie Jackson is really high up on the list. I feel like I'm missing somebody else.
The Honey Badger.
Said Honey Badger.
Safe to call him top three?
Yeah, no doubt. I'm really, the more I just sit here and go, no, Jamal Adams is the best. Budda Baker and Justin Simmons to me would be in that fight for number two. Okay. They would be. Yeah, he doesn't I would probably say he's three because Budda Baker is just Budda Baker is a heat-seeking missile. He has no regard for his body, and he throws himself around like he thinks he's 270 pounds and he's just made of concrete.
Right.
Justin Simmons isn't quite that way, but man, he's a really, really good player. Oh, Jesse Bates, that's who I was thinking about. Way to go, Pete. That, to me, would probably be the second best safety. I would go Jamal Adams, Jesse Bates, and then the Budda Baker and Justin Simmons conversation.
So with him, it's interesting because it would be tagging him for the second time.
I know.
So do you go that route, which would cost you between 13 and 14 mil, Pete, I believe?
Probably around there, right?
For a second one, or if he's that good and he fits that well in Vic Fangio's scheme, why not just keep him there for like long term?
Yeah, and I think
find a way to do it.
I would think they try to do that. I would. I mean, I would think that it doesn't seem like Von Miller is going to be back there. They're going to be able to open up some space here. And they're in a good spot already. I mean, they're almost at $40 million in cap space. To me, all I'm saying is, we want a long-term deal. You're going to have to probably pay him something $14 million a year.
Right.
Okay, so what? But yes, you're definitely not letting him hit free agency and doing that. I mean, so what? 13.5, whatever it is. Who the cares? You want him back on your team.
Right. Yeah. Linebacker, we have one.
Yeah.
Only one. Matt Milano, Buffalo, at Red Knight. Kid asks, should the Bills tag and trade Milano?
I don't think you can tag and I wouldn't tag and trade him. I would not. I really like Matt Milano a lot as a football player.
Every time I watch the Bills to get ready for this show, like really dive in, he's everywhere.
He is everywhere. Now, he's a little undersized, and he does have an injury history. And they got a guy in Tremaine Edmonds who they drafted in the first round a few years ago who's going to be coming up here too.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. It really is.
You could tag him and pay him 14.6.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be willing to pay him 14.6 quite right now. I don't know if I would be willing to do that. I wouldn't. The health of the player would scare me just a little bit. It would. And he's a damn good football player, and he fits what they do.
Tag and trade, third rounder?
Probably somewhere in that, but I don't even know. I'd have to look at that a little bit. Yeah, I'd have to look at that. But I don't think he is. I don't think they got to do some reshuffling on their defensive side of the ball.
Which level the most?
Gosh, their whole front seven. I mean, their whole front seven. It's just there's nothing there. Yeah. There's nothing. There's no great pass rusher anymore. Addison and Jerry Hughes were average at best. There's no D tackle to speak of that's a disruptor.
How's Oliver been?
Oliver's been not great. It has not lived up to top 10 pick billing. There's no doubt. He's been disappointing to me. I thought he would be a better player. Mm-hmm. So, I think they got to look to go. We got to improve a lot of things on our defense. They need corners. Their defense has issues, and I just don't think I would allocate that kind of money to Matt Milano right now.
All right.
Yeah.
I kind of thought you might say you got to keep this guy.
I love the player. It hurt me because I really love the player, and I see what you see.
Yeah.
He does pop, but I think he only played 5 or 6 games this year.
Yeah, he's been limited.
He's missed a bunch of games his rookie year. If I remember right, the second or third year he missed a few games there too. That just would scare me about an undersized middle linebacker to throw that kind of money out there, especially when your salary cap situation is not the best and you got some things to figure out.
One name at corner. We go to the NFC. $14.9 million to tag Shaq Griffin.
No way.
Not even a consideration.
Not for me. There's no way. No, I mean Seattle. Again, let me just check their. I don't think they're in like the worst spot in the world. They're right at league average, but I don't think he justifies that type of money. Again, if you're going to be a corner and you're talking franchise to me, that means you got to be locked down. You got to be able to. We can trust you against anybody, and you can't do that with him. So he's not in that category.
That's every position.
Woo, we did it.
That's the whole thing.
We did it.
Man, that's diving into some off-season stuff.
And listen, anybody out there listening, whatever else, if we want to talk more trade value and all that, I'll dive into that a little bit more. I probably dropped the ball a little there by just looking at it, ranking what I do.
Are you talking about the receiver late?
Yeah,
late first, early
late second. Yeah, so we'll see. But I gotta think about that a little more. And
I don't know if you're really off. I mean, that the Hopkins thing throws it off because the situation last year.
The situation was
they only got a second for him and all that.
Right.
So I don't think a late first, early second for Golladay and Robinson. I don't think
crazy?
That's out. No.
All right.
I don't know if it'll happen or not.
Good. Thanks for making me feel
nothing
better.
went off in my head like, woo, he's really out there on that one.
Okay, good.
We have some Ask Me Anythings.
Whoop, whoop.
I think these are pretty interesting and fun. So, Pete, nice job picking them out. At Vish Kamaran asks, what is your process when it comes to how you study quarterbacks before the draft? How is it that your track record is so much better than the other analysts? Is your thought process different?
Well, thank you. That's very nice of you to say. I do think that I think my process is a little different. I do. I think here's the biggest thing. One, I look for just talent, pure talent.
I was going to say that while you were thinking, I'm like, he doesn't talk himself out of recognizing the raw talent.
Raw talent to me is the number one thing. So one, I go, okay, he's got talent. Okay, let me just make sure he's not a total idiot here, and just total free fall. Is it decisions that are just so stupid and everything like that? All right, so that's the next thing I do. Without getting into some other nitty-gritty details, the other thing, too, is I don't give a damn about the wins or the losses or the stats.
Right.
That's how, to me, I was able to hit on guys like Justin Herbert last year, who I said, had a higher ceiling than Burrow or Mahomes or things like that. The other thing you have to, I think, ask yourself, okay, we see the guy's got talent. Now, wait, the wins aren't that good, and some of the stats in the games aren't that good. Okay, so now let's look at that, and let's evaluate that realistically. One, why do we always put wins and losses on the quarterback? I don't know. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, I could sit there and we go back and watch games and go, well, who the f*** do you think Texas Tech was supposed to beat? I don't care who's at quarterback. Who's supposed to beat? And then, when people picked him apart, there was a few games where people always pointed to, oh, this game scares me. And not, okay, now let's go back and do we realistically think he was the problem in that game? Right. Was there plays there to be had that I went, how did he miss that throw? Or that guy's wide open, and how did he see that? That's what I came with Justin Herbert last year. I kept going, okay, he threw an incompletion here. Nobody was open.
Right. He
tried to put a ball, and he put the ball right in the spot where it was a safe throw, and his receiver might have not been good enough, or the coverage was so good enough that, he couldn't fit it in there. But I didn't look at it and go, man, Herbert he can't find anybody open. No, there was nobody open.
Yeah. You weren't afraid last year to kind of call up that offense and say he was doing pretty well with what they were putting in position to do because the offense wasn't that good.
You have to be able to realistically look at that and go, wait, is it realistic to ask of more in this game from the guy?
Right.
So that was the other thing I do. And then, on the flip side of that, just for recent memory here, okay, then a guy like Tua, where I go, hey, listen, there's a lot to like, but damn, again, people are wide open.
Yeah.
The throws are so easy. Let's not
You put a lot of stock into it. Like you said a lot with Tua. You've said with a number of other quarterbacks.
Yeah.
What's he do when things get tough around
That's
him?
the NFL. That's the NFL. I mean, listen, if we're going to go by wins and stats, then every Alabama quarterback should be the number one pick in the draft. Every one.
Right.
It's
going to be fun to talk about Mac Jones next couple months, too.
Well, listen, and I'll say that right now. I've already seen enough of Mac Jones to go, he makes more NFL throws than Tua did.
Yeah.
To me, I would be shocked if Mac Jones is not one of the risers of the draft here. I see people have him at the end of the first round, and I just go, I don't think so.
Especially if 3 or 4 go in the top 5. I mean, there are a number of teams between 5 and 25, they're going to want quarterbacks, too.
If you made me bet right now, I'm just starting on these quarterbacks.
Yep.
But if you made me bet right now, Lawrence, Wilson, Fields, Mac Jones, all going top 10.
Top 10.
All top 10. There's no, I don't, as I just look at it right now, I think for sure.
I was going to set the over-under at 10 and see what you said on Jones.
No, this Trey Lance is the one I'm really, just off of TV scouting and things that I've seen just a little here so far. I got major questions about that one.
Yeah.
And we'll see where Kyle Trask is from Florida and all that. I haven't really got to look at him real hard. But, just because we're on it, yeah. Okay, I know Mac Jones was playing some real talented guys too, but I saw too many throws where, he changed his arm delivery and has people around him and he fits it in there. And, the pocket's collapsing and he throws another 25-yard strike downfield. That's football in the NFL.
Right.
That's what made Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow special this year in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many plays where you go, there's nothing really there. They still got a 20-yard completion. Look at that.
Yeah.
And that to me is what I look for more times than not.
I saw him play in person this year, and I was really impressed. His command of the ball and his balance, he gets it out quickly, went to the right place all the time, accurately. Huge props to Steve Sarkisian. That scheme was awesome. They out-schemed people all the time. They had great talent, I know.
Right.
But the play calling was terrific. But I liked him a whole lot more than I thought I would, too.
Yeah, I know. The control of the ball is the thing that it's a perfect spiral every throw.
Yep.
It's on the money. Everything. Only thing I'll just say right off the bat that I don't like about Mac Jones, I don't like the way he looks in his uniform. I mean, that's the only thing I say so far. He just doesn't look cool. Other than that, I like everything else.
Pretty cool winning every game.
Well, exactly right. So who gives a shit how you look if you're winning every game?
All right. That's a lot of quarterback. Good preview stuff.
Thank you.
It's going to be a fun few weeks coming up there. Got a couple other Ask Me Anythings. At JCoral49, what are the biggest misconceptions about the quarterback position at the college level and the NFL? I guess we are talking a little more quarterbacks.
Yeah, okay. Well, the biggest misconceptions, I think, I think people think always like, oh, it's a bigger jump from high school to college. That's the first thing. Then it is college and the NFL. And I would go, no, I don't think it is.
You think it's a bigger jump?
I think it's a bigger than going college and the NFL.
Without a doubt.
Yes.
Without a doubt.
And I'll say the other misconception is, when people say, oh, it's, the speed of the game. Yeah, sure. The speed of the game is faster in the NFL, but not because actually like, hey, listen, Mac Jones, like we're saying, he's throwing to guys that are NFL receivers and he's going against NFL DBs. That's not the thing. It's about nobody messes up. In the NFL. All the guys are in their playbook all week long. It's all football. The room for error is zero. There's more on your plate mentally. There's more on your plate mentally to figure out what they're doing. And the biggest thing I always go back to is even in the SEC, where, Greek gods are growing on trees on the defensive line. You're still going to play a handful of teams where you go, there's one pro on their defensive line.
Right.
When you get to the NFL, you will get in games in the preseason or early on in the regular season, and you're going to go, holy shit, every guy coming after me is giant and huge, and the pocket when I was in college felt really comfortable and cozy, and now comfortable and cozy is not that comfortable and cozy is what they're expecting.
Right.
And I think that's to me was the big adjustment in the NFL.
And you don't see any quarterbacks in the NFL looking over to the sideline at 6 different signs for the play call. So the jump, and you talked about what's on them mentally.
Yes.
The advancement and what's expected of them from play call to snap is 10 times harder.
10 times more. You get the 20-hour rule in college football.
Right.
There's no limit rule in the NFL. No limit. It's all day long.
Quarterback Jeopardy, you ready?
Oh, baby.
So I think after a week off,
you guys don't know anymore.
I think
you guys are all
easier than
over
it
the
should
place.
be.
Oh, gosh. When you say it's hard, it's easy. When you say it's easy, it's hard. I don't know.
This is a collaboration. Pete's kind of like Drake. Pete steps in and adds his name to it, collects money on the side.
Right.
Makes it a little bit harder, a little more well-rounded, but Pete definitely has his fingerprints on this one, too.
Okay, good.
All right, so this is off-season quarterbacks in the news. So guys, you've been hearing about their names, trades, speculated trades. Maybe they want to leave a place. So just guys we've been hearing about here recently. This is not the draft at all.
Yeah.
All guys in the league right now.
Okay.
100 points. Of all the quarterbacks we're hearing about right now, trades, speculation, or pending free agency, there's only one who started every game of his career. Who is he? All the quarterbacks are coming up now.
I know.
One of them, every game of his career,
got
he's
hurt
been
with that
he's been the
ACL. Russell Wilson.
There you go.
Yeah. Which is unbelievable.
Isn't that crazy?
It's unbelievable.
Every single game.
Yeah.
With the way he plays, too.
And with the way he plays. Rick, I don't like that he talked about all the sacks and offensive line stuff. That was a little bit of a low blow to his team because I want to go, Russell, you know. Listen, there's nothing wrong with it. You got to live or die with that a little bit. He makes too many plays, but a lot of those sacks,
It's the same way when Roethlisberger was playing the way Ben used to play. He's going to have more sacks because of the way he plays.
Exactly right.
But respect for 144 consecutive starts in the regular season.
That's
since
insane.
2012. It's
insane.
Nuts. 200. The Jared Goff for Matthew Stafford trade is the biggest QB trade news we've seen in a long time. The first trade ever where teams swapped former number 1 overall picks. Name the other 2 quarterbacks picked number 1 overall who are about to become free agents.
Oh, okay. They're about to become like.
There's potentially 3.
So they're the number 1 pick in the draft.
They were the number 1 pick in their draft.
Okay.
About to become free agents.
Number 1 pick in their draft, about to become. Ooh, this is tough here. Wait, hold on a second here.
I have confidence in you here.
You do?
I do.
So now I'm pulling up the teams. Number 1 picks in their draft. And they're about to become free agents. Like the true number 1 pick.
Yeah, not just the number 1 quarterback.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on a second here.
And there's actually a third. I had 2. Pete added the third, and he was correct. he added a third that might join these two as well. So if you get, Pete, what do you say? If he gets 2 of the 3, thumbs up? Yeah.
Who the hell am I missing here? This one's actually making me. This one is actually making me choke to death here. Like, and you're talking about 2021, they can be free agents.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so Alex Smith is one.
There you go. That's the one Pete added that I didn't have. So
okay.
Pete, nice add.
Okay.
And there are 2 others that I thought were more obvious.
Holy crap. Who am I? Hold on a second here. Hold on. I'm pulling up the teams here and looking at teams, and I am Jameis Winston.
There you go.
I don't know why for a second I was going, Jameis Winston's the number 2 pick. That's not, he's number 1.
He was 1 and Mariota was 2.
Yes, right. And because my mind went to Mariota, actually, but I was like, wait, he's not a free agent either.
So you've already named 2.
I
So
never
you
named
get the 200. The other one played all year. Winston didn't really play. The other one played all year.
Wait, hold on. What is wrong with?
Played on a new team. Didn't play well.
Stop. Be quiet. Hold on a second. What the hell? Who am I missing here? See, this is where the pressure is getting.
Literally a
Cam
big
Newton.
one. There you go.
Holy crap. Woo!
Yeah.
See, the easy one sometimes the pressure gets to me more. It would have.
That would have bothered you all
That really
night.
would have bothered me.
I'm happy for your family time tonight that you got
flustered me right there.
For 300. Now that Goff and Carson Wentz have been traded, only one of the 15 quarterbacks in the 2016 draft class remains with the team that drafted him.
Okay.
Who is he?
2015.
No, one of the 15. So 15 quarterbacks were taken in 16.
Yeah, 16.
And after that trade, there's only one who's with his original team, which is crazy. 16 wasn't that long ago.
Dak Prescott?
Yes.
Oof, man.
Dak Prescott, exactly in the middle. He was the 8th of 15 taken.
Yep.
In between Connor Cook and Cardale Jones.
Hey, Dak Prescott's one of the ones that, you talk about, I learned from that one. I learned from that draft to go, wait, Dak had everything you like about a quarterback. The team, the support wasn't there.
Right.
Why did that was one that opened my eyes.
You put too much stock into Mississippi State.
A little bit.
Why didn't they beat Georgia?
Exactly. Or why were the stats a little better?
Yeah.
Okay, that was stupid. That was one I still kick myself for that one.
Well,
yeah.
All you can do is learn.
Yeah, that's right.
400. Deshaun Watson, the 3rd quarterback playing for a Houston NFL franchise to lead the league in passing yards. Who were the other 2?
Okay, so we know Warren Moon.
Yep.
All right. Wow.
Not Oliver Luck.
Oh.
Not Archie Manning.
Then Matt Schaub?
Yes.
Woo.
That was too easy.
See, that's what's weird. It's like
I thought you might sweat a little, have to go to the computer and really think about it.
Matt Schaub is, he's my draft class. What's amazing about Matt Schaub? You want to hear this crap?
He's still in the league, isn't he?
I think he's just retired.
Okay.
He's kind of saying that was it this past year. But he, I'm trying to think of how it worked. Like he didn't really play, and got traded to Houston and got big money.
Yeah.
And I remember I'm playing, and we go to the playoffs, and I fucking settled for a tender, and didn't get it, and then lost my spleen. I still look at that and go, what the f*** did I do there? Yeah, exactly right.
I think I remember watching an ACC game for some reason, like in the early 2000s. It was Matt Schaub of Virginia against Phillip Rivers. And I'm probably exaggerating here, but I think like 3 balls hit the ground for like 3 quarters.
I wouldn't.
It was insane how good those 2 were.
Schaub was, he was a lot better than people give him credit for.
Played in the league for forever.
Yeah, he did some really good things
Doesn't
down
have
there
by
in
accident.
Houston. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Now, this is the one, I know you're thinking about going 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
I think the train stops here.
Okay.
Okay, for 500, Big Ben has thrown 20 or more touchdown passes. I'm sorry, he's thrown 20 plus touchdown passes, 20 or more, to 5 different players. Name 4 of them.
Okay, here we go.
Yep. 20 or more touchdowns in his career to 5 different players. We need to know 4 of them.
Antonio Brown.
There you go. There's 1.
Santonio Holmes. No?
That's a no.
Okay, fine. Damn. All right, let me just keep naming them now.
Yeah.
Let me just say.
Because we only need 4. We didn't write down anything about incorrect answers.
Mike Wallace?
Yeah, that's what I didn't think you'd get. Mike Wallace. To me, the other 3.
Don't tell me yet. I want to see if I can get them. I just want to see if I can just do it here. Oh man, I want to say Hines Ward. I'm just not sure if did Hines hang in there long enough to catch catch some of those passes and do that. I am going to say it.
Yep.
Okay, so it is Hines.
Hines.
All right.
2 others.
All right, 2 others. This is where I'm a little stuck right now. Damn, did he? I don't think Juju is there yet. I don't think there's enough there with Juju. I'm missing somebody that's going to be obvious. Ooh.
So I'm going to go back to the wording here.
Yeah, go ahead.
20 or more touchdown passes to 5 different players.
Yeah, so one of them's a tight end, like Heath Miller's one.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then the last one, wow. It's not a running back. It's not like there's no other tight end. There's a receiver I'm missing in this damn. I mean, Pittsburgh's had so many good receivers through the years. All right, I can't get it. Tell me.
Juju.
It is Juju?
It's Juju, yeah.
I chickened
21,
out.
Barely. He's barely over the line.
I chickened out because I thought with Big Ben maybe being hurt, 2 years ago with the elbow, I thought, maybe that didn't quite get him over.
But we only asked for 4.
Right.
And he got 4 out of the 5 with Santonio.
I got 4 out of 6.
450 points.
That's all right. I'll take it.
You get an A instead of an A+.
Enough.
Good
That's
job.
Good enough. Thanks a lot, man.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's it, right?
I think that's it.
We did it?
Yeah.
Anything
we
else
could
you
go
want to hit
back
on,
to
Pete?
one of these quarterback questions and stay there for another 4 hours if we want.
All right, good. All right, so listen, we're going to go from here. It's going to be still a lot of free agent talk. I'm kind of watching film on those.
Yeah, how much longer till we go full-fledged with the draft quarterbacks?
I think by
Pete?
Next week, I could start talking quarterbacks for sure.
Pete says maybe.
Right. And, I don't know if I'll rank them quite yet. I probably will and give out. I'm usually I can't help it, so I just start throwing them out there. But, yeah, I think next week, if you give me to Wednesday, for sure, I'll start hitting on that. I'm starting to dive around on all these draft guys.
It doesn't have to be the finished product. We can just kind of start on Wednesday.
Nope. And again, anybody, the listeners out there, specific questions to your teams, anything like that, I'd love to answer that and do that. So don't be afraid to do that. And we'll have Big Phil back in the fold next week. He had to get something done today or whatever. He's old. He's got to go see a doctor or whatever.
He's 50-50 at best.
Yeah, he's 50-50 at best. I know. There's no doubt. He called during the podcast. So she's going to be like, I got done with my appointment a little early. You want to have me on? I'm like, I can't answer questions and do franchise tags and talk to you on text. So
you missed it, Dad.
Yeah, that's what he said. Here we go. Well, I'm home if you want to call. And he accidentally recorded his voice for a 3-second thing, too. So that's Big Phil for you. That's a 65-year-old father. But everybody be good, be out there, stay out there. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. I'm saying be good.
Point, yeah.
Everybody stay safe out there. We'll hit you up Monday. We'll be back podcast. We'll have something to bring to the table. Deep dives into football. You know it. Paulie B, you the man.
Good to see you.
All right. Good seeing you. Peace out, everybody. Yo, what's up? Come on, man. Subscribe on YouTube to Chris Sims Unbuttoned Podcast. I need you. Please hit the subscribe button, please.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.